It comes as the government's announced further changes to the system so that it won't cap the benefit for families whose children were born before April 2017. We're joined now by Charlotte Hughes, who campaigns against universal credit and runs a blog called The Poor Side of Life. Charlotte Hughes, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You'll be aware, obviously, that not only did we get that High Court outcome this morning, but we also got a lot of announcements in a speech from the Work and Pensions Secretary, Amber Rudd. Are you pleased to hear those? They're kind of attempts to reset universal credit.
Whilst I'm pleased to hear it, it's not really enough. It's not dealing with all the problems of universal credit. By actually doing this, Amber Rudd's admitting that there's massive faults within the universal credit system that they are not willing to accept and are not willing to deal with.
And yet, you know, she's dealt with the issue, for example, of families who had their children before the system came in and so wouldn't have known about the limitations, the cap on 2 children for benefit.
But what about the children that are already suffering? What about the children that will continue to suffer because of this? You know, children need to eat, children need to be clothed. It's not their fault that they were born, you know, and this is completely discriminatory. We don't live in a country like China where we're dictated to as to how many children that we are allowed to have. Okay, it's not fair, it's discriminatory, and children are going hungry. Families who are hit by this already rely on food banks to survive, and that's working people and non-working people as well. So it's completely wrong. It needs to be scrapped. It needs to be stopped. It's just absolutely berserk. It's completely inhumane, you know. Having to choose which child you are going to feed that day, that's literally what you're having to do.
And so, looking at the other aspects, how about the direct payment to landlords? Is that not going to help? I mean, I suppose what I'm saying to you is there are concrete measures that she announced this morning. Are you not welcoming any of those concrete? Because political reality is they're not going to scrap the whole system.
Well, we need to change the government and then we'll look at that, won't we? But yes, I'm pleased that the government have now decided that they're going to give landlords the direct payments. That's brilliant. But what happens in the 6 weeks in the meantime when you're waiting for your claim to be processed? Okay, you're building up rent arrears then. You're not allowed to claim housing benefit while you're waiting. They've not addressed that issue, okay? So you're still in arrears when you get your payments. So that needs to be dealt with. So whilst it's good in one hand, it's bad in another hand. They're not dealing with all the issues. They're just giving us tokens here and there. Tokens that might help some people, might not help some others, you know? So the system needs to look at it properly. That's what I'm saying. They need to look at it properly.
And going back to the point we mentioned before, the High Court judgment on the 4 working single mothers, do you expect that there will be, I mean, obviously there are other challenges we've been hearing this morning in the pipeline. Do you think that from your point of view that is a fruitful line of attack against a policy that we've already heard you don't like?
Absolutely. I can't state how brave those women were, because as a result of that they might have been targeted. You know, it's absolutely amazing that they've won this case. It's absolutely damning on the government that they're actually thinking of appealing this decision. It's wrong. The government still don't actually acknowledge that there is a problem, even though there's been a court judgment against it. So it's just completely mental. They don't accept that there's 5 weeks in one month and 4 weeks in another month, you know, and everybody on universal credit is worse off because of this. So I'm absolutely chuffed to bits that these women have won this. But it's not the end. They're going to appeal it, and it's going to carry on and carry on and carry on until, you know, when will it get made legislation? When will it? That's my question. When will this ruling get made into legislation?
Charlotte Hughes, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, in a moment we'll have all the business news. First,